why the Grand Canyon now, güey?
Porque tengo algo muy importante que hacer. Algo que cambiará nuestras vidas para siempre.
Ballet After Dark started with healing workshops for people like me who are survivors of trauma. And I realized how vital something like this is.
Welcome to our 4th annual LUNAFEST. I'm Barbara Kapos, and I'm the Executive Director at the East Los Angeles Women's Center. During this challenging time, we are faced with a pandemic, a recession, fires, and social unrest. Collectively, we have experienced grief and loss. So we thought we could take a pause and enjoy an evening of wonderful short films created by women and a local short film that resonates with our communities. In the past, we have celebrated at a theater downtown with appetizers and possibly a glass of wine. So it's not the same, but I hope you can relax, enjoy the 2 films that we're going to present tonight, a panel discussion to follow, and view the LUNAFEST films at your own discretion within the 24 hours. Tonight, all funds raised will go to the Rapid Response Fund. We have raised $150,000 from the many donors who want to give back and help someone who has been impacted in such a profound way. The funds through our Rapid Response help survivors, their families with rental assistance, food subsidies, transportation, and much more. When a survivor comes to us with her children and they are sleeping in their car and they have no access to a meal, with this fund, we can respond immediately, provide shelter and meals, a helping hand, not tomorrow, but today. I'm very proud of our staff and our volunteers and our promotoras who extend that helping hand every day and touch the lives of hundreds in need. Through this fund, it is a community taking care of one another, and we thank you for being here tonight and contributing to our efforts. If you want to be more involved, please contact us at elawc.org. And if you want to donate, you can go on our website or text Give Luna to the number 243725, and it's on our screen right now. And now I would like to introduce Heidi Rodriguez, our phenomenal development manager who has organized this event, and she will now give you details of the evening planned. Heidi?
Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this fine Thursday. I know there's a lot going on, and like Barbara was saying, now more than ever, we need moments of joy. So you made it this far. Congratulations. You followed all the instructions, and I just want to reiterate that if you're on the live and there's a camera on the live, that's amazing. Feel free to answer our poll questions. We want to make sure that we make this as virtually as fun as possible. Like Barbara said, during other circumstances, we would have been in a theater in downtown, but that's not the case. So we'll make the best of it. We hope that you have the mood set up for your very own special night. And if you have any questions, please feel free. If you have any tech questions or something's not working out for you, please email Rebecca at elawc.org. And without further ado, I also want to add that we have an auction. We have a goal. We want to fundraise. We have $50,000 left. like Barbara was saying so far, with the generosity of all our supporters, our community, local businesses, we've made it up to 150,000 now, and we still have 50,000 to go. So today, the main reason for today to share with you and also to let you know what we've been up to and how we've been doing it. Barbara will tell us a little bit more about that later. And we want to remind you that we have an auction. We have a live auction. You'll have some time to look through the items until September 30th. Local businesses that we love and have supported us through the season have really come through for us. Businesses like Shelas in Boyle Heights, Eastside Eats, who has been major supporter of our food pantry program, Chamaya Gallery, Nora Ross. We also have Olive Faye Clay Earrings, who's an amazing company. They're two social workers by day and jewelry creators by night. And we also have the amazing artwork of Yolanda Gonzalez, who's always supporting us and making sure that our community is well taken care of. So please go support our small businesses. They're women owned, women of color owned, and make sure that you share it. And if it's something that you like, and maybe you don't have to decide today, you have until the 30th. So that's that. And also, if you feel inclined to give and you don't want to log out or just pull out your phone and text Give Luna to 243725. And with that, without further ado, we will move on to watch the films. First, we will have Ballet After Dark, and then we will have Joyride. Following the films, I'll introduce you to our amazing moderator, Juan Escobedo, and then we'll have a Q&A. Both films really took me on a journey, and in a few minutes you'll have the opportunity to share via our poll. We want to know, how are you feeling? These films really tell a story that so many of us carry, or we know someone who has a story like this, and that's the beauty of films. And that's why we every year for 4 years now, we've partnered with LUNAFEST, whose goal is to showcase and to really put out there championing women in film. And every year also we like to include a local filmmaker, and this year we included Joyride Film, who is a local PBS most popular film of the season. You may follow them on Instagram, and you may also follow Ballet After Dark on Instagram, on social media. And just a reminder, Ballet After Dark is an official selection of LUNAFEST. So with your movie pass that you received the link to this morning, you can watch it again with your family. You can rewind, replay, and there's also a reminder, there's 6 other films you can watch with different themes, from coming of age to gender, sexuality, and those are all films, again, that you can become inspired. They're films by women for women. So feel free. You have until 9 a.m. tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, to watch the films in the LUNAFEST, which is a total of 7 films. And you can watch them at your leisure. You can watch some tonight after our virtual programming, and you can watch them in the morning. But do remember, you have until 9 a.m. to watch the films. After that, the link on Vimeo will not work for you anymore. So just wanted to remind you about that. And I also I have the honor today of introducing you to Juan Escobedo. Like I mentioned, every year we have a film that we screen we like to always keep in mind the voices and the stories of our community as well. And last year we screened Marisol by Juan Escobedo. He's an award-winning actor, director, photographer, And his recent film Marisol won several awards, including Best Dramatic Short Film. I have the honor of introducing him, and I also want to remind you to continue commenting, chatting, participating in the polls. We want to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and after the Q&A, after the panel with the filmmakers, you two will have the opportunity to ask questions. So make sure to ask your questions on the chat, and we will get back to them. Hopefully, you ask a good one, and we ask too. So without further ado, I introduce you to Mr. Juan Escobedo.
Hi everyone, I am Juan Escobedo, and I'll be doing the Q&A with the filmmakers. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Barbara, and congratulations on your 4th annual LUNAFEST. So who do we have here on the panel? Do we start with B. Monet? Are they online? No, okay. So there she is. How are you, B. Monet?
I'm good. How are you, darling?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us. B. Monet is the director of Ballet After Dark. I was reading your bio, and what accomplishments! Just amazing, amazing. Congratulations on all your success. I won't get into that right now, but I will start with, how did you come to do Ballet After Dark? What happened there between you and Tide?
Yeah, it's crazy. We met like 2 years ago, and we met for like, I think 2 or 3 hours, and I just talked with her, and I just wanted to know more about her story. My friend did an expose with Refinery 29, and I'm from Maryland too, and I was just like, oh my God, who is this dope woman from Baltimore? I need to
She's
speak to
amazing,
her. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
just, I had to know more and more about her, and I'm so glad that she was in a position that she wanted to talk to me, because I know that I kind of talked to her in a at a weird spot in her life where she was kind of like just feeling a little down on Ballet After Dark, and it's just like, how God, universe, the ancestors will work. I think I just came into her life at a divine moment, and for me, women of color are very much at the center of my work. So I love showing women not just going through something, but I think overcoming what they've gone through. So, yeah.
No, well, it's an amazing film, and the fact that she was able to present her story, congratulations. So, were there any, with filmmaking, sometimes the cellular guides are very present and will turn a negative into a positive. Were there negatives that became positives, or were there negatives where just like whoosh, you just scratch them and you improvised? Because I know how filmmaking is.
Woo, filmmaking is something else. I think people do not realize, like,
They don't, yeah.
what you see in a little box, there's so much
1 minute,
other
yeah.
things.
I know, yeah. It's a lot, and then problems always happen. So every time I watch a film, I try to figure out, what happened there, what happened there. So any insights into that you can share into what happened, and the good stuff too.
Yeah, a challenge was like, I think, working with the first DP. Nothing against her, but she gave me a lot of raw footage that was a little grainy. And so I was just like, oh my God, like, how can I do this? Like,
Yeah,
I can't, come to Tide, do all of this, and then now have footage that doesn't really reflect, fully her story. So, me and the producer at the time were very much on this quest to find a DP, a cinematographer. That's for folks who don't
yeah.
know.
Director of photography, yeah.
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 That just could kind of like do their thing and kind of just help to elevate the piece, and just was very thankful to Tyler, who is based in Baltimore, and was very much instrumental in us getting like a lot of the shots that you see, kind of like that shot where we do 360. He was the one who beautifully shot Tide, where she kind of like transforms from, like, she's like in the black what is it, coat, and then she like changes from the black swan to like this yellow goddess, who's
Yeah,
in this beautiful tutu, and just it was very important for me to show a little bit of her story. Of course, this could
Yeah,
be expanded into something longer, but I think sometimes shorter is very hard because it's like, what
yeah,
elements do you
yeah,
want to choose? And I think
yeah,
because we were also doing this with Tribeca, they were also, I think sometimes, when you work with brands and big corporations,
you
sometimes,
better deliver.
yeah,
Or that's it.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I know the pressure. I know the pressure. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Yeah. So my hat off to you. The other thing I want to ask, and I'm going to ask Ty too, what this means to her. Um, the colors, the yellow, the canary yellow, and I pay attention to those colors because, well, I try to pay attention to everything on the film, but why canary yellow? I thought it was I love that color. That's my favorite color.
Oh,
So I'm
wow.
curious as to why you chose. And I've seen your photo has canary yellow. Your red carpet shot on IMDb has canary yellow. I think I saw it somewhere. So what does
Yeah.
canary yellow mean to me? Just out of curiosity, because colors are
Mhm.
so important. They can be very healing.
Yes, yellow is one of my favorite colors, especially like gold and
I
just
like you already. Yeah.
yeah. Yes. Um,
Yeah.
to each to your
Yeah.
own, I just felt like
Yeah.
pink is so traditional and kind of, that's what white folks have done traditionally, especially in the ballet space.
Yeah.
They very much have used pink. And
Yeah.
I felt like pink was not necessarily going to show these black women, black girls in
Yeah.
the best light. I
Yeah.
feel like gold was just or you say canary yellow was just a way of like
Yeah.
empowering them. So despite being roses from concrete, they rose above. So for me it
Uh,
was like, how
yeah.
can we, what color kind of embodies that? And I think
Yeah.
like that color is just so, I don't know, ba ba
I,
ba boom, you know what I mean?
no, it's amazing. It's amazing. And you say concrete, and you're redefining what ballet is. Which is something I took away from the film. Ty talks about being regal and royal. You can be regal and royal if you don't have a bank account. That's okay. We're on the concrete, and we're still regal and royal. So congratulations on the film. Great film. I'm gonna bring in Tide. Is Ty, would
Yes.
Ty be available? Hi, Tide. You stay on, okay? Monet, be Monet.
Okay.
Tide.
Look at her. Yes. Look at,
Hey guys.
yes. Look at her face.
You guys are amazing. Congratulations, Ty. Congratulations. One of the things when I watched the film, I kept thinking, when did she make the decision to talk about her assault, her sexual assault? Was it a process? Was it a long process, or did it just click one day? And you said, I got to talk about this, and the cellular guy sent you B Monet, and beautiful film. So tell me about what your process was there. Did it just click, or was it a long time coming?
Yeah. I mean,
Oh,
go ahead. Go ahead, Ty.
For
I,
Tide, yeah, for
I,
Tide. For the
I
sexual
don't,
assault, yeah.
so, the entire journey has been a process. The entire journey from healing, from conceptualizing Ballet After Dark to meeting B, all of that was a part of the process. But I was growing to a point where sharing my story was becoming a regular thing. Even though when I met P, I was in a very low point with how Ballet After Dark was growing, and I really wasn't even sure if my heart was in it any longer. But the opportunity to spread awareness about sexual assault and about consent culture, and having this opportunity to have my story told in such a delicate but powerful way
Yeah.
made it a lot easier to share. Um,
Hmm.
Also, Brittany B was very respectful about the way she planned to paint my picture. and she was very, very upfront and very clear with me about the fact that we were going to tell this story. So the
Sign of a great director.
yeah, she's an
Sorry.
excellent, yeah.
Sign of
So
a great director. Yeah.
yeah, she
Sorry.
set me up
Sorry.
well enough so that I would be comfortable sharing. So, and it wasn't a long process because this was like a 3-month, 4-month project, maybe.
Yeah, we shot most of like November, like late November, December. Then we came back and shot in like January. But yes, it was
So you had
really
the
great.
weather also going against you, the weather too.
It was
I'm
12
assuming, right?
degrees outside.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
It was freezing.
Wow. So Ty, going back to telling your story over and over, and then eventually on film, for some of our audience members who have maybe fallen victims of sexual assault, do you recommend that they share their stories, that they talk about their story? I know for me, every time I talk about a problem or an issue, the more I talk about it with people, the more it heals me. What do you recommend for the audience members that maybe went through something similar?
I recommend talking as a suggestion for healing, but it's been in my experience over the last few years that what may work for me doesn't always work for everybody.
Yeah.
Also, we have to keep in mind that there are various platforms when it does come to healing. Mine particularly is movement. It took me years to get to a space where sharing felt like something that was healing to me. So when I couldn't talk about it, I danced about it.
Okay.
Talking is very, very important. It does help to put things into perspective, and it does help you when it comes to creating whatever your journey of reprocessing, rebuilding, and reclaiming your life is going to be. So yes, I very much believe that talking is very much a part of your healing journey. But I also do know that everyone heals at their own pace,
Okay.
and the talking portion may come later in their journey. But we have to allow for survivors to discover whatever it is that makes them feel comfortable, whatever it is that's going to encourage them to begin their journey of healing. And it might not always be talking at first.
Okay. So for example, for me, if I come across somebody that approaches me that has been a victim of sexual assault, what can I say and what can I not say to be respectful? Because a lot of times people don't want to talk, and you want to say something, you want to help, but you just don't know what the right thing is.
So one of the biggest things you can always remember is restoration of power. So when you're dealing with trauma survivors, especially survivors of sexual assault, usually we're in a space where all of our power has been taken from us. We're in a space where whatever this connection we had to our femininity and our womanhood has been taken from us, is completely stripped from us. So one of the most important things that you can do is to remember to ask permission before asking a question, touching someone, invading personal space. What you do in that moment is give them a choice, which is very, very important, because our choices were robbed from us. You also empower us and strengthen us with the opportunity to decide how we want to interact with you.
Okay.
So it's very important to remember just to ask. Is it okay if I take your hand? Is it okay if I give you a hug? Is it okay if I stand this close to you? Also, one of the biggest things is be transparent. Let them know I want to know how to talk to you. I want to learn how to speak with you again. Trauma survivors often have to learn and redevelop new relationships with themselves and with other people. And the biggest thing you can do, one of the most helpful things you can do, is ask them, how do you like to be taught to? How would you like to receive information? How would you
Okay.
like me to share space with you? They may
Thank
not
you.
know in that moment, but just
Yeah.
you asking the question, it restores power back to you now.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I want to have one more question for Tide, and then hopefully after we bring in the Joyride, we can all have a quick conversation. So Tide, talk to me about Mexico. What is going on in Mexico with Ballet After Dark?
Yeah, this is exciting. Never in a million years would I think that I'd be in this position where I've developed these international partnerships, and now
Right.
we're helping women in another country. So I developed a partnership with a wonderful nonprofit organization in Mexico City called La Casa Mandarina. They are the only nonprofit in Mexico City that's providing sexual and domestic advocacy services to women. We partnered, we created a virtual curriculum, translated it completely to Spanish, and we are servicing women who are coming from marginalized Mexican communities. So we are dealing with and helping and teaching women from the indigenous Mexican communities, Afro-Latina Mexican communities, and the trans Mexican communities. So I'm very excited
Right.
the fact that we have a trans boy in our class, Alexi.
That's great. Was he in the film? Was he in the film? Was he in the? Oh no, that's in Mexico. Mexico.
Yeah,
Yeah.
none of our all of our Mexican participants have just come to us in the last month. And they're wonderful. We have about 18 participants so far. One of them is an Afro-Latina participant. She lives in the mountains. Our indigenous participant also lives in the mountains. They bring their babies to class. And it's just, and they're just, they're very grateful. They show up on time. They are taking it seriously. They're practicing, they're rehearsing. And also the thing that I really love about this is they understand that ballet was something that was not created for Black and brown people. They understand that it is a discipline that was created strictly for European royalty. And they understand that now with this program, they're being given an opportunity to be exposed to it. Whereas, in the past, they may have only gotten a very brief glimpse through television, but now they get to live it. Airs now. We have taken it and we have, repurposed it so that
made it your own.
we've made it our own, and we've removed the intimidation that would typically come with being a student of this classical discipline. We removed all of that. This is all about joy. It's all about fun. You're learning a new language. You're learning new movements, meeting new friends. And, we're really, really focused on what comes after survival. We need to focus on that. So it's great. I'm happy.
You two are amazing. You're my new sheroes. Tide, I recommend that you copyright Kirby Ballerina. I saw that on your website. And then B. Monet, we got to go to Mexico and film the Mexican version.
Oh my God. I love Mexico.
Let's get those grands and go to Mexico.
Yes.
So hang tight. We're going to bring in Joyride, the director of Joyride, and the actor, and the producer. Joyride. Edwin, let me get this right. Edwin Alexis Gomez, you are the director of Joyride. So same question. How did this come to? Oh, and there's Evelyn. Evelyn.
What's up,
sorry.
everybody?
Evelyn Angelica Martinez.
Yes.
You are the producer of Joyride. Do we have Blanca? Is she on? No, she's not. Okay. All right. So Edwin and Evelyn, how did Joyride come to be? What was the spark that you said we need to talk about this lady and we need to show her going to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I actually took Josefina Lopez's screenwriting class about 2 years
Okay.
ago,
Yeah.
and it
Real
started
Women
off.
Have Curves.
Yes, exactly. The
Mhm.
writer of Real Women Have Curves, the play,
Yeah.
and the screenplay. And one of the premises was like have a conversation between two people who are debating something. One person wants to do it, the other doesn't. And that's kind of when Marina and Karina showed up. And I was like, okay, I have these two young women who are trying to figure out if they're going to do something. And then it ended up being breaking out their grandmother, right? And
Right.
so after being raised by a very strong, mother, by a very strong grandmother, as well, I realized that there's so much that women in our lives, who usually are the glue of our family, especially in Latinx
Exactly.
cultures, being Nicaraguan American, I recognize how much is asked of just women in general in our culture. And
Yeah.
I wanted to really, I realized that this journey was something very near and dear to my heart. Especially, I myself was an advocate at a domestic violence shelter here in Los Angeles for almost
Mhm.
8 years, and
Mm.
I started seeing how much we skirt a lot of the issues, and we sweep them under the rug, or we
Yeah.
always think that it's somebody else's issue to deal with. And then I met, both of my producers, Evelyn Angelica Martinez and Angela Pedraza, and we just kind of started thinking, how do we make this film that
Sure.
we haven't really seen yet, discussing a lot of these issues that are pertinent in our community and that are often not talked about.
Yeah, yeah. And I just want to make two quick comments. Abuse, you have violent abuse, and then you have sexual assault abuse, but you also have financial abuse and mental abuse.
Mhm.
Two other things that people don't think about sometimes. Evelyn, so for you, what made you realize I want to work with Edwin and I want to do this film? What was the process for you, if there was a process, or were you thrown in there and said you're gonna do it?
Yeah, a little bit like that, yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
That happens.
I met Edwin at an event, and sometimes, when you meet somebody, it feels like you've met them for a long time, and that was the case with Edwin and Angela, actually, for both of them. And right between us meeting each other right away, we kind of were like, hey, want to go to Sundance together, just to go. And we did. And there we were talking about Joyride, and I really connected with the premise. I know each of us that is on the core team have a personal connection to the story,
Okay.
either by our family or
Yeah.
just somebody that we know. And so that's really like, I guess it was just very serendipitous. We just kind of got together and it happened. And I'm very grateful to be on this project, for sure.
Yeah, that happens a lot with filmmakers, low budget filming, indie making. You meet somebody, you're like, oh, I want to make a film with this person, and people think it's weird, but there's a connection there that you just can't explain. And the story about going to the Grand Canyon, how did that? I mean, just the ride to the Grand Canyon. Why the Grand Canyon? Just out of curiosity, because that was very cathartic for her. The ride with the grandchildren. She was doing that for them, and she was doing it to teach them a lesson, if you will, or tell her experience in some way. But how did that come to be? Because as a filmmaker, if you say to me, we're going to the Grand Canyon, I'm like, where are the permits? Where's this? Where's that? So I'm just curious, why the Grand Canyon? Yeah.
Permits one? I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding. I think one of the things that now, putting on the writer hat and speaking as a writer, I think one of the things that made sense was, for me, as a survivor, as someone who has experienced trauma, it does feel like these heavy, hard things we live kind of leave a hole in our chest, in our heart, in our soul. And for me, there's nothing more beautiful than the Grand Canyon. Like, it's one of my favorite places in the whole world. But it also is almost like this very open wound, right? that was carved by the Colorado River. And I feel like the Colorado River is in many ways the metaphor for anything that causes us pain, anything that makes us feel as if, we might not make it, right? We might not survive something. And then we come to find that we can survive it. And that the people that are around us, the ones that we love, our family, both biological and chosen, right? As far as our friends, I think that's why it all came together for me. And I think it all came together because a lot of my work focuses on emotional inheritance and what we inherit from our family, right? And so for me,
generational trauma, yes,
exactly. And for me, it was this idea of like, we're not even going to inherit this ring, right? Like,
oh, perfect. I love it.
So let's let it go in the place where the ring originated. It's very Lord of the Rings, right? It's almost like they're on the same journey as like Frodo. They're like,
I love it. Yeah.
But they're doing it in a very Latinx way, which is like the little pocket that's created when you are on a road trip with your family and they tell you a story you've never heard and you're in that pocket, right? So that was kind of our metaphor for not like this road trip isn't just a metaphor for them getting to the canyon. It's actually how you live your life, right? And the things that you're going to encounter on the road and ways that we should look at confronting it.
I love it. Families, Latin families, we take a lot of pride in things that we inherit, like the rings, the necklaces, the cross. Even though you're not religious, you're like, I need to have my grandmother's cross, but you don't know what's behind all those memories, all those material things. So I like the fact that you say that. So another question is abuse, assault among men. Do you care to talk a little bit about that with the queer or even the non-queer? Do you care to share something about that?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, just coming from an org that helps men, women, and children, members of the LGBTQ plus community, I think the one thing that I know about domestic violence is that it does not discriminate. And especially right now with the pandemic, there's a lot of folks who, are at home with their abuser, right? And so for me, I think, having made this film, having conceived and written this film 2 years ago, having made it a year ago, and it landing this summer, it made me realize that sometimes you don't know how art is going to land. You don't know how important it will be. And so for me, I think we forget, because I feel like just like as Latinx folk, like we feel like things that are cultural are good, but like one of the things that's cultural that's not good is machismo, right? And so we forget how violent machismo is to every single person, male or female, right? Upholding these institutions, upholding these ideas, they play out in any relationship, straight, gay, so I think that's why it's important to really excavate what it is that we can do to make sure to be there for everyone who is suffering from domestic violence,
and not judge, right, based on the machismo.
Exactly.
So Blanca was on. Is Blanca on yet? I don't think she's on yet.
She said she's stuck.
Oh, she's stuck. Okay, hang up and then.
She said she can't enter. Let me see.
Oh, okay. So bringing back Ballet After Dark, B. Monet and Tide, and also for you, Edwin and Evelyn, with everything that's happening right now, especially what happened with Brianna, and I call her the girl with the most beautiful smile. There's a photo of her holding her flowers, and she has this amazing, beautiful smile, and I just can't believe this happened to her. I mean, I can partly believe it, but it's just crazy. So Ty, B. Monet, and Edwin and Evelyn, you guys are still there? Okay, perfect. All right, perfect. So my question to you guys as filmmakers, how important is it to tell these stories? I mean, I know the answer. I have my own answer, but I just want the audience to kind of hear from you guys. How important is to tell this stories of color? But the most important thing is, because I believe that in order to educate, you have to entertain. But a lot of the times, our films end up only in color channels or color festivals or Sundance, or I don't know if Sundance has this, but if it's a film festival, when I submit my films, they automatically put me in the Latino section. And that's great, but I want everybody to see the film because it's a teachable moment. So how do you guys feel about all of this? How do we tell the stories, and how do we make sure that our brothers and sisters that are non-color, how do we get to make them to see these films? Because they're really important.
Yeah.
How about Bimone? You want to go first?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like we keep it real, right? Like right now, my heart is still very heavy about Breonna Taylor, and I'm not gonna sit up here and sugarcoat that. And I feel like, you know, I think we as folks of color need to not placate to white guilt, but we need to tell them like how we actually feel about stuff. I think what we do is we tell our stories the way that we can. We still do that, hopefully, with inclusive spaces where we have Black, brown, queer, trans folks on our sets. I mean, like behind the camera too, because I hate a lot of initiatives, and even, you know, with the bigger entities and festivals, they try to act like they're trying to be very inclusive, but you know, I think we're in right now, meaning folks of color, and we have to make sure that we also keep these folks accountable, and we say, yes, we might be, you know, I don't know, doing whatever initiative
the thing right now,
but make sure that you're also having staff on your end that can really help us, you know, elevate and create the best stories as possible. And I think not putting ourselves in categories. Don't just apply to niche festivals. Don't not just apply to Black and brown festivals. Apply to Sundance. Apply to Tribeca. Apply to Urban World. Apply to New Orleans. Like apply to the biggest and the best. Apply to Cannes. Why not? You know what I mean? Don't put yourself in a bubble. Just you know. Society says that we're supposed to only operate. So yeah, that's what I would say. And your
just a quick anecdote. Yes, both of you guys. So how about you, Edwin? How do you feel about, you know, your film? You identify as queer, Latinx, but and sure, Outfest is great. It serves its purpose. I think it's great. But when you submit to mainstream film festivals or other festivals that don't really have a lot of queer films, how do you deal with that, and how do you share our color stories so that people can see them?
Yeah, I think I completely agree with Bimone. I think it's about like just submitting to everything. I know that some of our conversations, Evelyn and I, and Angela, our other producer, we always talk about the ways in which we don't want to pigeonhole ourselves, right? Because the idea is like all of these stories are universal. Like Ballet After Dark is a universal story. Joyride is a universal story. It's just told through a lens that we don't typically get to hear, right, or see. And so I think part of the work is just being unapologetic in what we're doing in our craft. I think something that can be seen is just how much these stories hit, even when you're not Latinx, even when you're not Black, right? And I think that that's the point. I think that's what people are starting to recognize is you make something from the heart, and it's going to resonate with everybody.
It's going to resonate, yeah. How about you, Evelyn? You have a comment about sharing our stories? And do we you're on mute, and do we pigeonhole ourselves?
You know, I think for me, personally, I think that like Bimone said and Edwin also said, it's like we're trying to keep it 100% our stories, right? And I think in terms of that, we can never change the stories that we are telling just because we're not we feel like we're not being programmed. Again, I know that we all see the tide changing, but to be honest, I think that that is primarily the reason behind that is because of people advocating for each other within our communities. And so as filmmakers, I think that we have to advocate for other filmmakers of color, right? Let's say that I meet a programmer, and a programmer is asking, hey, do you know any really, really amazing film that might, you know, be really cool for this festival? Yes, I know this really, really amazing film, Ballet After Dark. You know, things like that, that I think that no matter what, the craft of the storytelling is there, and we're only going to be elevating each other, right? Every person is on this mission to get to the next level of their career. But the key thing here is to make sure that we're bringing people with us, right? To make sure that we're building that community. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you know, it does come down to story, but it comes down to advocacy and elevating those who haven't been elevated as well. So, and only through there we can kind of see the change in the landscape, and I see it now, right? There's a need. There's a need for our stories at Tribeca. There's a need for our stories at Sundance. Now, the flip side of it is making sure that we are being supported on the production end, right? Making sure that the films have their production value. And as people of color, those with more experience, we have to look back and extend our hand to those emerging filmmakers. And so in order for everybody to just grow together, right? So that's kind of my 2 cents on there. It's mainly about obviously keeping it going, staying true to our story, but also being very, very staunch advocates for each other.
Yeah. Okay. How about you, Tide? How do we continue to tell our stories, and how do we make sure that people that are not of color see our stories and learn from our stories? Yeah.
I think one of the things we keep in mind is that trauma and tragedy is something that affects everyone. It doesn't matter what your skin tone is.
Yeah.
And making sure that white people who so badly want to glorify our stories are held accountable when it comes to learning and being educated as how to help us amplify our voices. I am a firm believer that for any person outside of my community or any Black or Brown community who is trying to advocate for us or who is trying to tell a story on our behalf, they need to know the whole story. So it goes back to education for me and making sure that before they're given an opportunity to say that they helped me or helped us with everything, that they are armed with all of the knowledge necessary for them to actually help us. So having some very difficult conversations with them and reminding them of how their relatives' history and how probably just their sheer ignorance has contributed to some of the issues that we're dealing with now. And also reminding them it's not my responsibility to make sure that they feel like they're doing something about the civil and social injustice that we face. Me as a Black woman, it's not my responsibility to educate white people on how to help Black and Brown people, but it is my responsibility to remind them that they need to educate themselves more on ways of how to help us. But again, it goes back to hard conversations and just having the courage to get with them, essentially, and to let them know if you're serious about helping, if you're serious about making sure that we're able to occupy space, if you're serious about these things, then this is what we need you to do. I don't need to do anything else. I'm already a Black woman. I'm doing enough.
There you go. I love it. Okay, so we have Blanca Araceli, who is she got connected again. So we'll wait for her. We'll keep waiting for Blanca. Blanca, reach out. Go through the screen. Poltergeisted. So one other question for Edwin. You have makeup in the film. You have the perfume at the beginning. You have the lipstick. You have a close-up of the lipstick. Why the makeup? Why was those shots important?
For me, I think and also I just want to say, Tide, thank you for everything you shared. Thank you
your
for
story, Tide,
and thank you just for Ballet After Dark. Just even the title of what you do, like I think it says so much about when those dark moments happen in our lives, to be able to still make art. It's just so beautiful. I just need to say that. So thank you for the work that you do. It's really moving. Yeah. For me, it's like I have family members who are bien coquetas. Like, they're coquettish. You
gotta have those.
You have your tias, you have your mom, you have folks who just love, getting ready. Right? We haven't really been seeing each other the way that we were like a year ago. But I think for me, it's really a love letter to all of the palette that I feel our lives have as people of color. I think there's something that's also what's beautiful is like it also allows for us to see the way that even these young women have been taking cues from their grandmother, and how those things get passed on. Like if there's a cologne your dad really liked wearing, like you're always gonna live your life smelling that cologne and thinking of them, or
reminders.
So for me, it was important to kind of weave that into the narrative and to really look at that right? I think also makeup is always something that is meant to kind of cover, right? And so for me, it's also this idea of covering emotion, of not allowing us to see all the time, right? Like it's almost like battle paint. It's like very indigenous. I feel the Latinas in my life, they, in their style choices, in what they wear, in their makeup, in their hoop earrings for my cousins who wear their hoops, it is like their regalia for the world, right? So for me, it was important to bring some of that, those nuances into the narrative. But
so one other question.
I was going to say, but actually Evelyn was our wardrobe designer. So we were really in it with those choices together, right? And thinking of palette and thinking of what was going to read.
The earrings, J color earrings, remind me of Chichen Itza. And so, I don't know if that was in place. So one other comment, chicken mole. Every time I explain mole to people, they're like, what? Mole? So I got it, but was that a jab or what was that about?
Believe it or not, our wonderful, wonderful actress Tess Middlebrook, she was okay. You know how actors prepare? Like she came prepared. I basically gave her the overarching idea of what was happening here, and those were lines she came. She's like, I'm thinking like, as the activities coordinator, I want to do this, and I want to talk about kind of the ways lines get crossed language-wise, right? Like chicken mole, tacos al pastor.
I love it, man.
So it was something that
Asada,
so it was something that she did that felt really true to her as a character. And I think, like she's in this room as the activities coordinator, in like this room of like Latina viejitas.
I love all the brown skins. So that was great. So sorry, one last question. I'm being told to wrap it up. So for all of you guys, I hope B1A is still here. What are you working on next? What's the next project for you? B1A, yes, there's that face. Perfect. So let's start with B1A. What are you working next? Are you with Queen Latifah? Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, the Foundation Award. Congratulations.
I can't with you. You're funny.
She's got an amazing bio. Please Google her. We can't go through everything, and reach out to her, congratulate her on the film. So go on, what's next?
Yeah. I'm just doing commercials in the meantime, and hopefully doing a feature film in Italy next year. We couldn't do it this year because of COVID, but hopefully next year. And let's get this man out of office so that we
yes.
can
If you need help, I will carry your luggage. Yes, get him out of office. Yeah. So, and again, B. Monet, we can't talk too much about it right now, but she was the first Black woman to do the Cadillac commercial. So congratulations. Is that right? Did I get it right?
Yes, you got it right.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. And I watched it. And I looked it up. I went in and I saw it, and it was spot on. Edwin, what are you working on?
Okay, so I'm working on the feature version of Joyride, which really goes deeper. There's a whole generation that isn't even in the film, which is the sister's mother, right? So dealing with the way the abuse affected that generation is important. I'm also working on a couple of short films. And
Enemigas? I want to see that one.
I know. And I'm also working on a digital series for Enemigas, and I'm actually in the middle of developing my next feature, which is called Castillos Invisibles, which is Invisible Castles. It's a period piece that takes place during the Nicaraguan Revolution through the eyes of an 8-year-old deaf boy. So he goes into his imagination, and we're kind of seeing the birth of a language, of Nicaraguan Sign Language. So it's kind of set in that tone and that guise. So I'm excited. It's been a lot of writing with all this time.
That's amazing. You guys have beautiful smiles. I'm taking a screenshot. So I'm going to be posting it. Great smiles. There you go. I took a shot already. Evelyn, what are you working on? Keep smiling, man. That's great.
I mean, along with going on this ride with Edwin and feature version of Joyride, I'm working on my own projects, but I just got attached to a project named Trans Los Angeles, and it's written and directed by a wonderful director, Case Peña, and it has Carmen Carrera and Stephanie Beatriz attached, so I'm very excited about that. But that's what's been keeping me busy. But other than that, just supporting and seeing what's up. Very excited to hear what everyone's up to.
I didn't reach out on social media because I didn't want to be a stalker. But after this, since I met you guys, I'm gonna reach out and stalk you guys. Ty, what are you working on next?
So we are working on Ballet After Dark Cuba, Ballet After Dark Jamaica, and Ballet After Dark Nigeria.
Beautiful.
So
wow.
Yeah, my dream is to bring Ballet After Dark to every country within the African diaspora. But because of the partnerships that we've developed with Latin Caribbean countries, we're definitely focused on making sure that we're getting there. And also because of the Afro-Latino communities there that are not serviced at all. And we're creating a rapid response fund for participants of Ballet After Dark. So women who may need emergency evacuation services, help with food, short-term financial stipends, things like that. So I'm trying to change the world.
There you go. There you go. With that beautiful smile, I'm sure you will. Yeah, that's great. So congratulations to all of you on your films. I'm so happy to meet you guys. I'm happy to see your smiles. It's great. I don't get to see a lot of people smiling. I don't get to go out that much. But so thank you so much for that. I'm going to be keeping track of you guys. We have festivals here, and I would love to invite you guys to come out. Well, Edwin and Evelyn are already here, but for B1A and Ty. So please stay in touch. And anything you want to say before we go?
I really enjoyed Joyride. I thought it was beautiful. I loved the silent moments throughout it. I loved the connection between the characters. The silence is what pulled me in and made me felt like I was a part of it. It was gorgeous. I look forward to the feature.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
me too.
You're welcome.
Me too. Yeah.
I feel the same way about Ballet After
Me
Dark.
too. I'm
Honestly,
like, what? I want to see that feature.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling such an important story. And you know what, Tide? I just need to say thank you for being so candid about your life and your experiences, because I think that's what really hit me in the heart. And the fact that you've taken what you've lived and you're helping others heal. I think that's that's why we make film, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why you dance and help empower people to dance.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that, like, I'm very touched by this. I hope that everybody tuning in was moved, like, in the way that I was. I feel so great. And any way that, you know, we can support your work.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let me
both
know
of
too.
you.
Both of you. All
Yeah,
of you.
please.
I plan to stay in touch, so get used to seeing
Yes.
my name.
No, totally.
Sounds good. We'll have some wine next week via Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you to the East Los Angeles Women's Center,
Yes.
Heidi.
Yes, Heidi.
You know,
Barbara.
Paulo, Barbara, everybody
Oh my
who
God,
helped
thank you
make
so
this
much.
possible. You guys are so wonderful. And thank you for the work you do in the community too.
Yeah. Bimone, any last words?
Yes, no, thank you, Heidi, so much. I know I love all the stuff you've been posting and tagging, and I see you.
She's
and I thank
amazing.
you.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
one
I can't
so
keep up. I'm like, ah. Yeah.
Yes. So
Evelyn,
yes,
any
let's
last
do a
words?
virtual happy hour. I would love that.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll Zoom it. We'll invite Barbara and Heidi as well, and we'll drink it up.
Okay.
I probably shouldn't be saying that. Any last words?
Everything. Thank you. I agree with everybody here. You know, I'm very, very grateful to be here, and I look forward to supporting everybody.
Yes.
Same here.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, send me the donate button for anything. You know, $10, $20. I always put something there. Perfect,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Un beso, un abrazo. I love you guys already. I connected really well with you guys. You know, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And keep smiling.
Thank you. You guys have a beautiful.
There you go.
Have a great
Bye,
night.
guys.
Bye.
That was great. I don't know what you guys are talking about, but this was supposed to be a happy hour. Okay, look at.
I got my water.
This is a mocktail. This is a mojito mocktail. My ice melted, but I don't know what you guys are talking about. In the polls here, we asked, "What are you drinking?" Because we had a Pinterest mood board. So there's wine slushy. 21% of folks said they're having a margarita. So cheers to that.
Oh, okay.
As you're holding your margarita and your tea, 50% are drinking tea because it's Thursday. So as you're drinking your tea, head on over to the 32 auction site. We have some auction there, and you know, this rapid response fund really means a lot to the East Los Angeles Women's Center. We've been working so hard. Business as usual, nothing really changed. And for us, you know, with the racial warfare here in downtown, everything that's going on, COVID, many of our clients have been impacted by COVID, and our staff has been there day in, day out. Transportation, food vouchers, hotel room stays. Just recently, one of our clients who was in a domestic violence situation, through our rapid response funds, we were able to have her transported and flown to a different state, where now she's actually an essential worker. She's on the front lines. She's a nurse. And, you know, this is what the funds that you donate are capable of doing, of making a difference in the lives of many, many families. And holidays are approaching. Rent, you know, right now there's a freeze on rent, but all that is going to be over. What's going to happen when people have to pay their rent again? So these are things that East Los Angeles Women's Center is planning for and foreseeing. So make sure you can text to donate. You can head on over to the auction, buy yourself a new guitar if you want guitar lessons, or you want your child to learn guitar lessons, head on over. There's also a meal plan for you. There's beautiful Mayan embroidered pieces, one-of-a-kind pieces that can be yours. And you're not only supporting women-owned and minority-owned businesses, but you're also supporting the mission of the East Los Angeles Women's Center. So without further ado, remember, follow all the filmmakers, Juan Escobedo, B. Monet, Curvy Ballerina, Tide Courtney, Juan, did I say Juan? I missed. I
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Edwin, Evelyn, and unfortunately Blanca Araceli. We had some tech difficulties, but make sure you follow her too. She has an amazing story and she's doing amazing work as well. Don't forget to watch your films. And if you want to stick around. The networking option in your Hopin platform is ready to go. So if you want to say hello to someone, feel free to do it. It's a 1 minute minimum. And then if you, and then for things not to get too awkward, it's an 8 minute max. So after 8 minutes, you're like, oh, this is weird. You can just go away. So thank you, everyone. Our staff who joined us, thank you for joining. All this could not have been done without our staff and without our board of directors. Thank you for our board of directors and Barbara Couples, everyone who made today
and you,
happen.
Heidi,
Thank
you too. You were on it, man. And congratulations on your baby.
Thank you. And thank you, Juan, for accepting. And if you love putting events together and this is something that you like to do, please let us know. We have an Embajadora de Paz program, and it's a wonderful network. And join us. I mean, we need people like you to make these events happen.
I was a promotora in 2005.
Okay. Oh, we have. We don't. Yeah.
You guys trained me on HIV. You guys trained me.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have our HIV trainers online too. Our health navigators. I know they're on.
With Alex and Alex, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Alex and Carla, I know they're on. So if you want to ask questions and network, feel free to use the icon. And I think that's all. So have a good night. Enjoy your mocktaini or your tea. Everyone's drinking tea. So thank you for joining us, and don't forget to watch the films. Have a good night, and I'll be on the network if anyone wants to say hi.
And smile, everybody. Okay, bye.